All right, what's up, everybody? I'm here with my friend Annie, and we are actually out looking for saw-whet owls. So we're looking for them. Probably not going to see them, but we're going to listen for them. So today we're just going to talk about some tricks on finding owls in your area. Just remember to keep good birding ethics. Do not approach owls. Do not stress them out, especially during nesting season. They're a very sensitive species. But let's go look for these saw-whet owls and talk about how to find your own owls. All right, so first owl tip is make sure you go out at dusk, right before the sun goes down. That's typically when your great horned owls and other owl species become more active. You might hear them hooting. You might catch a glimpse of them before the sun goes down. However, most of the time, and we'll get to this in a little bit, you're gonna hear owls and not see them, but that's also okay. So first tip, make sure you head out right before the sun goes down at dusk or very early in the morning for certain species as well, like short-eared owls. All right, second tip for finding owls is to utilize local knowledge. Talk with the locals, find out where owls have been in the past, and then go out and find those owls. Thank you, Annie, for holding the flashlight. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see me because we are looking for saw-whet owls. Yeah, exactly. Utilize that local knowledge. Go to the spots that the owls have been. Remember, stay a safe distance away. Don't bother them. You can find owls that way as well.
To help illustrate this point, last month I was in Southern California, and I wouldn't have found this great horned owl if it wasn't for my friend Andrew, who led me right to it and let me see this beautiful female great horned owl. Also, just notice how far away I am just to make sure that the owl doesn't get stressed out and bothered by my presence there. Again, last year I found these barn owls, but I wouldn't have been able to do so without the help of my friend Dan at Big Morongo Canyon Preserve. They were roosting in another palm tree, and I would have never found them if it wasn't for the local help that I received. And lastly, this burrowing owl I found with my friend Hawken just a couple months ago. And again, without eBird knowledge and the photos that were posted and uploaded to eBird, I would have never found this burrowing owl, or it would have been much more difficult for me to find it. So utilizing that local knowledge is super important stuff and can really help you get ahead and find these owls out in the wild.
All right, next tip for finding owls is looking for pellets and whitewash. So that's a good way to kind of narrow it down on what tree are they roosting in, what tree are they occupying, is finding those pellets on the ground. But that's a good way of figuring out exactly where the owl is and what tree they might be in. Next tip for finding owls is to look for mobbing birds. Typically this comes in the form of crows or ravens that are dive bombing and making a big ruckus when they find an owl in the tree. So let the birds do the work for you. Find those mobbing birds. I know chickadees are another bird species that will do this, and they'll do their distress calls when an owl's nearby. So listen to the birds in the forest and see if there's a large gathering of angry birds in the area, and they'll lead you right to the owl. All right, and last tip to finding owls is to use your ears. Listen for the hooting call of the great horned owl. Just out here looking for great horned owl. It's actually one that I heard a few weeks ago. I didn't have my camera, but we were able to see it with our naked eyes, I guess. It's been a few weeks since that moment, so we're heading back to the big tree where we found it the first time, and let's see if we can find it again. We just saw the great horned owl. It's really dark at this point. We could hear it hooting in the trees, but it didn't pop up until recently. So that's why the shot is so dark. It's almost dark. Just an amazing creature. Yeah, just super excited to see it. That's probably the best way, in my opinion, to find owls is to listen for them. Once you hear it, then you can look for it. Don't approach it because they're really sensitive creatures, but once you hear it, then you can look for it in the tree, and then maybe it'll pop up. And it just flew off right now, so that's cool too. Listen to the mechanical beeping call of the saw-whet owl. Annie led me right to the saw-whets. We were able to hear them. There's Annie with the light.
Hey, the sun.
Yeah, and we were able to hear them, and it was absolutely amazing. I got a sound recording. I'll put it up in a second. Obviously, we only got glimpses of the saw-whet owls as they flew from tree to tree, but it was amazing to see them and hear them, and that is a lifer for me, so I'm putting it down on the life list.
I forgot to mention that as we were sitting there listening to the saw-whet owls, a skunk sprayed super close, too close for comfort, and we hightailed it out of there as quick as we could because neither of us wanted to get skunked, and so that's why you can hear me out of breath in some of the clips, but it was beautiful seeing the owls.
And yeah, absolutely amazing. Annie, thank you so much for your help. You can do the
course.
spooky thing if you want. Yeah, there you go. Let me know in the comments below what's your favorite owl to go looking for and to find. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope to see you all next time on Bright Eyed Birding.